We are Steven and Jill. Together, we've been buying and reselling land since the 90s.
Our data-centric approach leaves our buyers asking, how can you sell it so cheap?
Here on the Land Academy Show,
We answer that and more. Steven Jill here.
hello.
Welcome to the Land Academy Show, entertaining land investment talk. I'm Steven Jack Butala.
And I'm Jill DeWitt, broadcasting from sunny Southern California.
Today, Jill and I talk about Land Business 201, where you should be in 2 years. If you were with us yesterday, it was Land Business 101, a list of stuff you should do in the beginning. Tomorrow it'll be 301 and 401 and so forth. So today Jill is going to describe to us where we all should be in 2 years, what should happen between that first deal. We talked about getting to that first deal yesterday. And then from 2 years from that point, she's going to lead us and tell us exactly how that's supposed to go. And
Great.
I bet you $1. There won't be a lot of math and budgets in it. They'll just be like, well, you should feel this and then do this deal.
We're going to do it together. All good.
Before we get into it, let's take a question posted by one of our members on the landinvestors.com online community. It's free.
David wrote, in the training videos and equity planner, Steve says to offer 35%. In the video tonight, I thought I heard him say offer 20%, and now I am confused. What do you offer?
So I chose to include this question among tons of questions and comments on land investors for a couple of reasons. Number one, what David's referring to is when you go into a county or a zip code, you're going to establish a baseline average price for a property, what properties sell for in that geographic area. So in a county, it might be $1,200 an acre. And so we would offer either 20% or 35% of that. Or in a zip code, same thing. In a zip code, it would be for a house, $180,000. So we offer a certain percentage of that or a certain dollar amount below that so we can buy it for cheaper and sell it for more. That's my point number one. I will forever say this statement. There is no percentage. There's no locked-in percentage. This whole business is your business. This is a business that you're going to start, and 20% might be incredibly appropriate in some county on the West Coast where they've never seen an offer ever. This country's packed full of counties where they've never, ever seen anyone, no one's ever sent them an offer, ever. The vast majority of the counties in this country are that way.
Right.
If that's the case, and you can determine very quickly if that's the case or not by what's for sale there. If there's nothing for sale there, they've probably never seen an offer. I would go in lower. If for whatever reason, and I'm not sure why you would ever do this, you're choosing a county like San Bernardino County or Mojave County, Arizona, or Costilla County, Colorado, where 9 million people have sent letters because other people out there have said they're secret counties or for whatever reason. Probably 35 to 40% might get you a better response rate. But I'll say this, and here's my big picture point and really why I included this. I say all kinds of stuff. Common sense applies here.
He also says, I can't be responsible for what I say. That's one of the things he says.
If you were looking for I
have something to add on this too.
If you're looking for a hard and fast way to print money out of an ATM machine in your basement, you are in the wrong place.
I know some people that have sent out offers, say it was 20%, 25%, whatever, and they got a few great properties and they realize maybe they get into it and they realize, wow, this is a great area. Things are worth more than I thought. I want more properties. I know people that have done, say 20%, and they've gone back and remailed at 30% because everything that they got their hands on sold so fast that they went back and made even higher offers to scoop up more property. So I just want to say that's another example of this is an ebb and flow. You're going to change. There's properties that you're going to send at 20% or 25 or 30, whatever it is, and you're going to go, I wouldn't pay 5% for that one or 10%. You're going to come back and even tell the guy, look, I'll take it off your hands, but here's my number. And it's really low because of there's something
right.
going on. So there's no, like you said, there's no hard and fast rule.
On any of this, and it's not just pricing.
Yeah.
Common sense really applies. If you talk to 3 convenience store owners in the same market, they're going to have different prices for everything for a bunch of reasons, especially the old ones who've been there for a while. They're going to say, yeah, I mean, I can get away with selling milk for $6 and it flies off the shelf. There's just a lot of people who buy milk in this neighborhood, but I can't give away cigarettes or whatever. So there's pricing. The 20% and 35% has to do with geography and what Jill said, timing and all kinds of stuff. And that's not just pricing. That's tons and tons of stuff in this business and really any business.
Exactly.
You have to have an open mind, and you have to adapt and overcome like the Marine Corps, or it's not. Again, you don't just stamp this stuff out, which is why there's so much profit.
Right.
If it was just stamp it out, when you buy and sell a house, you know you're going to make. There's a very finite situation. I'm just talking about land here. Yeah.
Like price per square foot's pretty darn close.
Yeah, you know what
within a 30-day period, you know what's going to happen.
You're not going to offer 20% of what a house is worth. You're going to get laughed out of the neighborhood.
Right.
So I'm just talking. So that's my point. Today's topic: land business 201. Where you should be in 2 years. This is why you're listening.
You just caught yourself. You're like, whoops, going into dead horse mode.
Dead horse. Oh, beat a dead horse.
Beating a dead horse. You were starting to go into that mode. You caught yourself. Good one. Good job. I'm proud of you. That's usually my job. Actually, no, it wasn't. Actually, beating, I'm famous for you. Well, hopefully it's not this way anymore, but I used to be so bad about beating the dead horse, number 1, and then 2, really putting my foot in my mouth. I was pretty good at that one. You can tell me, on a scale of 1 to 10, how am I doing?
You haven't mixed a cliche in quite some time.
No, that's another problem.
My all-time cliche mix that Jill's ever said is the Duracell rabbit.
Oh, yeah.
Every marketer who's ever worked on the Energizer Bunny campaign just fell out of they quit their job.
That's right.
They've spent billions of dollars branding the Energizer Bunny, and she comes up with the Duracell rabbit.
Do you know what's really funny too? We have a really good friend who owns a restaurant here in town. Her neighbor is the Got Milk guy. Did you know that?
Yes, I did.
I think that's so funny. He's got this. What do you do after that?
I don't know.
Do you just walk around saying I'm the Got Milk guy and just leave it at that, like the Subway, like Jared the Subway thing, like we all knew Jared from Subway, and then we learned Jared from some other ways, which weren't so great as Subway.
That's a good question. That's where this whole week is leading. Like, what do you do after you won? Well, we'll talk about that on Friday.
Okay. Yes, Friday is the one. Okay, good.
501.
Okay. So today is where you should be in 2 years. Okay. So yesterday we talked about and that was a laundry list. If you took notes, I would encourage you to read the transcript. That might be easier than taking notes, and you could get the excerpts out of there. And that's on our website, by the way. We never really talk about that. If you really want to know, the transcripts from our shows are on the website, our website, so you can find that, which is over my shoulder right here. So where should you be in 2 years? Well, you're still doing it. It made the cut. You're obviously making money. So I hope
you like it.
Exactly. And you figured a lot out.
Mm-hmm.
I hope that if you're, in 2 years, you're not working on deal number 2. That's where you should not be. So in 2 years, you should be on deal. Let me think about this. I'm going to go between 50 and 100. What do you think?
So that's very personal. For me, for us, 50 to 100 is probably light. I know it is. There are people in the advanced group who do 1 deal a month. They just make $100,000 doing it, and they have all the answers, and that's it. So it's not so much numbers. Again, at the beginning of the show, I'm all budgets and goals. Like at the beginning of yesterday's show, I said you got to have a goal,
right?
And you got to hit it. And that goal for yesterday was to do 1 deal, and then you're kind of graduate yourself. For once you do that 1 deal, you have to sit down and have a real honest conversation with yourself about what you want to do. Like, how many deals do you want to do? And
I used to say 10.
I think for the first year, 10 deals is great.
Well, that used to be my first thing. I used to tell people, don't make any decisions until you do 10 deals.
Okay.
I want you to start and finish, not just, I love you, but 1, I think is too light to have a full, because you're not going to have as many things to go wrong. Do you think?
I think it's very personal. For me, all it took was that 1 deal, and I just knew. I knew right there. So, but I think 10 deals, is very realistic. Maybe for some
10
people
deals,
it's 5.
your bank
Some
balance is
number.
different. Hopefully 9 went great or 8 went great. 2 you goofed up. You're comfortable talking to sellers. You're comfortable talking to buyers. You know how to post property. That's all the stuff I want. That's why at 10 deals, you feel better.
This is a perfect example. Like Jill and I have a different threshold.
That's true.
And we're lifelong partners in this. So
It's okay to disagree.
Yeah, it's okay to have a different goal.
Right. All right. So I'll say where I think you should be in 2 years. Maybe we should even do this, and you say where you should be in 2 years because it might be different.
All right.
Okay. So I think in 2 years, depending on the type of deals you want to do in your balance, that of course will dictate. I don't think most people coming new to this right out of the gate aren't going to come in and go, all of my deals are buy for $50,000 and sell for $150,000, or something like that. I don't know many people that come out like that. I think it's more like I buy for $2,000 or $3,000, I sell for $9,000, and then I graduate to buy for $5,000, I sell for $12,000, and then I buy for $10,000. Now it's getting a little scary, and this is where I think you should be happening in the 2 years. You keep pushing the envelope. I had a consulting call with a guy yesterday in Idaho. What?
We're just so similar when it comes to just pushing the envelope.
Oh yeah.
And today we are pushing the envelope, doing $100,000 deals, and we're high-fiving each other.
Do you know what I find is so funny? Like, side note about you and I is you would think as the woman that I would be the one that says, how big is that check are you writing? I'm not comfortable.
It's the opposite.
I am reckless with the checkbook.
Yeah.
Like, I see it, I believe it in my soul.
Me too.
And I will die making it happen.
Yep.
I will write a $125,000 check and not think about it because I know what's going to happen. And so we have a rule. We have a limit up, limit down. We have our own little, stop gap, if that's right,
Yeah.
too. Like, we have to talk about it. There's a certain number that, we got to talk about it before that check's getting written. Under that threshold, he's like, have at it. I just keep, he knows how he can see it. He watches what I'm doing, buying and selling. So it's not nothing. But so back to the 2 years. So I hope you kept pushing yourself a little bit further until you're now, I would love at 2 years, you're very comfortable buying for $10,000 or $15,000 at least and selling for $30,000 to $50,000. And then at the end of 2 years now, this is kind of a prelude to tomorrow's show, which is, now how do I want this to go? I would also love you to test, if you haven't yet, tested doing some with a broker. Buy something for, easy. You could buy $15,000 properties, easy. Well, one of the properties that looks really good that you think you could sell for $70,000, get a broker involved. Or even on the acquisition side, if you're 18 months into this, you're looking at a property and scratching your head going, shucks, this is a great deal. I really think this could be worth quite a bit. Get a broker's opinion. Call 3. Hopefully 2 of them are going to get back to you and 1 you're going to love. And you're going to test them and say, you know what? All right. He's going to say something like, I vote we market this for 80. I think we can get 65 in 30 days. You'd be like, done. I'm buying it for $15,000. I'm going to test this guy. That's the stuff I want you to do in 2 years.
It takes 2 years. Yesterday we were talking about stuff your college professor said that would always stick with you. I don't think I heard this in college, but somebody told me it takes 2 years to do anything. It's that. Somebody wrote a book called 10,000 Hours, I think.
I remember that.
I think that was about soccer or something. It takes 10,000 hours to become a
Proficient.
Proficient or an expert, or I know I'm misquoting it,
Yeah,
but I know
okay.
the book's called 10,000 Hours, and I've never read it. I've only heard people talk about it and really.
I think that's
say
5
good stuff.
years.
Is it?
Like,
Well, good. I mean, tomorrow we're going to talk about 5 years.
again,
Because it is
not
5
doing
years.
math in my head.
No, it is 5 years.
Okay.
So
Okay.
here, what you got after 2 years is a lot of practice.
Yeah.
What you don't want, I'm going to quote my mother actually, and her take on education is this: 2
Get
years.
inside. It's late. Nothing good happens after 10 o'clock.
That. But 2 years from now, it's going to be 2 years from now.
Yeah. Oh.
Jill doesn't like that saying.
I hate that saying. I don't
Why
know
is
why.
that?
Well, because I had a boss that used to tell me that, and she also said you can sleep when you're dead. And I didn't like that one
I
either.
don't understand that either.
Okay, thank you.
2 years from now, 2 years are going to go by. So how you fill that time between now and then is up to you.
Right.
You can have 10 children and wreck your life.
Not in 2 years.
All right. You can have 2 children and sort of wreck your life.
Okay.
You get married and unmarried in 2 years, easy.
Right.
There's a bunch of stuff you can do in the next 2 years, or you can buy and sell a ton of real estate and be on your way to financial independence for the rest of your life. And that's the truth. So practice that. By the end of 2 years, your fear should be entirely dissipated. And that bottleneck we talked about yesterday should be gone. You should be able to, like Jill just said, you should be pushing yourself to do bigger deals. You should be pulling up a deal on Parcel Fact or Neighbor Scoop, and you should be looking at it and saying, oh my God, yeah, I'm going to do this deal. I just need to make sure that X, Y, and Z, I'm on the phone with planning and zoning right now to confirm that you can use the property the way I want it to be used. I'll buy the deal. Click, next review. It should be that fluid. This is really important. By the end of your 2 years, or while you're getting to your 2 years, after Jill's 10 deals or 1 deal or whatever that number is for you, between 101 and 201, you need to have established success in your budget to actual calculation. Again, I use this guy all the time in our advanced group. He only wants to do 1 deal a month, and he puts his soul into that 1 deal. And he makes $100,000 every single month. He makes over $1 million a year net. So for him, that's his budget. Is he hitting the actual budget to actual? In his case, he is. There's another guy in the advanced group who he just splatters it all over the place. Luke Smith, you've seen, if you haven't seen his show on YouTube, you should check it out. He's been with us, he's like
A couple of years, 4 years now?
He's been with us since minute 1.
Really
really
on. Yeah.
And, his style is very just splatter it, throw it on the wall, see what sticks. And he'll do any deal. He'll buy properties for $25. He'll buy properties for $250,000. He's got tons of partners. He's just all over the place. So is he hitting his budget to actual? I think some version of that's happening. That's I wish somebody would have told me that a long time ago. You have to have a budget in everything. You have to. And it doesn't stop there. You have to check to see where it's budget to actual is hitting. There are 4 niches in this land business that we have. I'm going to rip through them right now because
we're going to talk about them tomorrow too.
Right. Chances are you're just focusing on one, and it's probably rural vacant land like we focus on. But you can do infill lots. We have a whole program on that that's included in Land Academy. That's number 2. Number 3 is very, very, very inexpensive $100 an acre desert squares. There are people that make whole careers out of that, millions of dollars a year. And then finally, specialization properties, like properties that have been pre-zoned or civil engineered to be heavy industrial or hospital or motel, yeah. And there's huge money in that, massive money in it, and it's not that hard. So you should either be in that already, thinking about doing a deal in that, or it should be in your plan to do a specialized mailer like that. And then finally, I think within that 2-year area, 2-year time frame, geography should be heavily on your mind. If in fact you're not, we have some very successful people who contact us and say, we have people calling us and saying this all the time that have been members for years. You don't know me at all. I joined in 2015, 18, 14, 16. I took what you said. I took the first program, took it to heart, sent out mail in one county, then sent it out in another county right next to it, and I never left.
Yeah.
I've only ever been doing deals in those 2 counties. I sell it on terms. Now I'm into mobile homes. There's the whole thing over here. I'm helping these people do a subdivision. So that's not my way. We like to move all over the place, but that's just us. So some people, and it's usually where they live, so they can drive there, and there's a social piece to it for them. Or maybe we have one person who solved access list property in Indiana, or in a few counties in Indiana, and that's all he does. He buys this ridiculously inexpensive, what people think are unusable properties, squares. There's no access to it at all, and solves it because he knows everybody at the county. So that's like a specific little niche-y thing that goes on right in some geography.
Right.
You can make a career out of that, or splitting property too. So those are the types of things that have to, by the end of 2 years, you should be having consistent money come in, probably paying yourself a salary. You should know what your specialization is, and you should be really thinking about what's going to happen next. From an employee standpoint, I don't know if you should have somebody working for you or not at that. What do you think?
And no, at the end of 2 years, I think you're just now thinking about quitting your day job.
Okay. Good, Joe.
That's what I think.
I think you're right.
I think you're tapped yourself out. I really want, that's one thing that we feel real strongly about. Stay there until it doesn't make sense to be there. You want to go, golly, now I'm losing money. And I remember that. I remember that day and that feeling like, shucks, the time I spent on my day job, I could use this 40 hours. I would make so much more money. And then I want you to stay there even longer because I want it to be no question. And I want you to put so much money in the bank that you feel so secure you're going to sleep really well. That's what I want you to do.
That's great advice, actually.
And your wife is happy too.
Yes.
That's one of the most important things. Thank you for joining us today. Happy you could be here. You can find us 5 days a week right here on the Land Academy Show.
Tomorrow, the episode on the Land Academy Show is, surprise, surprise, Land Business 301. You're a specialized pro. You are not alone in your real estate ambition. This is fun.
It is fun. It's fun. It's kind of like I'm thinking back on where were we? So we're not the normal in 2 years, but I talked to people in 2 years, and it's funny because it's interesting. I talked to a guy last week that has new to Land Academy, but not new to the business, and he has got himself. I think he started with somebody else based on the properties that he's doing. He's staying in a very few counties out west that we know really well, and all he's done is built up term sales.
Oh, good.
And he's got his term sales now to about, he brings in comfortably $14,000 a month. I said, that's great. He's like, we joined Land Academy, and I want to learn to really take it to the next level, number one. And number two, I want to go for some bigger cash transactions. And it was so funny because he's going from, so he's probably 2 years in. It's him and his wife, and they have an investor when they need them. And again, he lives in Idaho. Hi, John. And he was telling me, the backstory and all the work that goes into it. And he's like, and he's buying them between like, I'm going to say $2,000 and $10,000, right? So he's got a lot of properties. To have $14,000, I mean, these are like, so they were doing $99 and $199 a month payments.
That's a lot of deals.
That's a lot of deals.
That's hundreds of deals.
I said, hold, John, I got to tell you, what you're about to do is a lot easier. It's so much easier buying and selling for cash because when the deal closes, you're done. You're not managing this property this whole time. And the people that you speak to when you start doing these bigger deals and you go through escrow and do transactions that way, it's a lot less. I mean, the paperwork he's doing right now too, to set up the terms and the seller financing and the credit cards and all of that, that's a lot of work. I said it's about to get a lot easier.
Does he have anybody? This is incredibly helpful, I think, for listeners. What else can you tell about this guy? Because he obviously figured it out. And he figured out something that we don't even really talk about or teach that much, which is term sales.
Well, he made work beautifully is the harder thing. And yeah. I'm like, what's great is too, I said, I'd say, what you're doing right now, I say, if you want to do it our way, I'd say, I got $14,000 a month coming in. Great. Okay, something crazy happens, and a large percentage of them stop paying. You could live on $10,000. Well, if you can't live on, we had to talk about that. If you can't live on $10,000 a month right now, something's wrong. So yeah. You can live on $10,000 a month. All right. Now and pay the bills. So you've got some wiggle room there. So just start going. The fastest way to really build up a bank balance is cash deals. So I'm like, it's like having a W-2 job. That's like a W-2
Yeah.
job that's paid for.
Yep.
Everything's paid for. Now you can really focus on this. He's like, yeah.
So did he ask you any questions?
Actually,
Or was it just a chat?
No, it was really sweet. We laughed about it at the end because I said, "Did I get the job?" Because it was such a fun call that we did. It was a consulting call, and John had a well thought out, planned list of serious questions for me. It was not really a conversation. It was I answer the question. He goes, okay, on to the next question. I answer the question, on the next question. We're like, I'm like, fuck, I'm getting an interview here.
Did you get the job?
He said I got the job. So it was really good. It was so fun. I love it. And I actually like those. It was a different consulting call for me because he planned it out so well. So thank you, John. Sometimes people are coming to these consulting calls and they don't even really know what to ask. It's okay too, because I can kind of dig from them where they are in their career, in their land, career, and then I can say, all right, here's what I think's going on. Do you want to look at this or do you want to go this direction? What seems best, and we'll talk about it. But he was like, I know exactly what I want to ask you. It was really cute. It was awesome. Thank you.
All right. So, the guy had a whole list of, so he planned that whole thing out.
Oh, totally.
So that's how he does his business.
Totally.
Plans it all out.
Oh, yeah.
Executes it according to some schedule.
Yeah.
And makes the best of 30 minutes or any given 30 or 60 minutes in his day.
Exactly.
That's a lot of this.
That's true. It was really good. Talk about, I can tell he's organized. He has to be to manage all those properties and those payments. He's got his act together. You know what else? And he reminds me, he's doing his homework, and I appreciate that too. He's like, before I make this next step, I did all of this. I'm watching the program. I have these serious questions before I go into that. Mm-hmm. And I, like I said, I really do appreciate that.
Awesome.
Thank you for tuning in. We hope you find our content valuable, and we appreciate your support. If you haven't already, please check out our YouTube channel and hit the subscribe button.
And your questions and comments and suggestions help us to create the type of content that you're here for. Hitting the like button helps to support our channel's algorithm and gauge your interest for future shows.
We are Steven Jill.
Information
and inspiration
to buy undervalued property.